You're listening to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness, and I'm your host, Marty Jalove. I come at you every single Monday night at 7 o'clock to talk about your job, your career, your vision made clear, the skills that you hone for the business that you own, the ups and downs, the smiles and frowns, where you're at and where you're bound. And if you miss any of today's episode, and I promise you're going to want to listen to the entire episode because my guest here is loaded with excitement. He is just ready to go. So this is going to be a big episode you're going to absolutely love. But if you miss any part of today's episode, tune in later in the week to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Catch this and so many more previous episodes. So today's special episode is going to be number one of a 12-part series we're going to be doing through all of 2026 on legendary leaders from the past that we can still learn from right now, become better leaders, better bosses, managers, directors, owning companies, just leading the little league team, whatever it takes. You can learn these leadership skills from these great people in the past. So my special guest is my son, Nate. Nate, I'm throwing the camera over to you there. Say hello to the world, Nate.
Hello, world.
So brilliant.
No, Marty, I gotta say, I was pumped when you sent this out. We were talking off and on for the past couple of months, like, what are we going to do in the start of 2026? And you pitched the idea a couple weeks ago that we're going to be doing strategic leaders. And me being a young leader with a lot of learning to do in the business world, I was like, this is awesome. So I'm just really excited to be kicking off this series with
Cool.
somebody that I've taken a special interest in the past couple of months, Marcus Aurelius, and just one of the greats of Stoicism, and just kind of taking a deep dive into what he thought and what he stood for. And I've been doing a little bit of reading on him recently, and just a lot of great content for all of us new, old, and budding leaders out there to just really take a lot from.
I love it.
So
I love it.
excited to be here.
Cool. So I guess, it's really kind of funny is probably so many young people, the only connection they have to Marcus Aurelius is the movie Gladiator. And what happens was, you've seen the movie Gladiator, right?
I have seen the movie
All right,
Gladiator.
there, yeah.
Yeah,
So
one of the few movies I have seen.
nice. I figured I'm crossing my fingers here that you'd seen that. But Marcus Aurelius was actually then the old man in the beginning of the book who was killed by his son Commodus. All right, and that's how it's all started, where he was talking with the gladiator. Now,
Gerard Butler.
well, yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was talking to him about how he wanted to return Rome to the Senate, give her back to the people. He was the philosopher king who did all of this, but his son Commodus wanted more. He wanted the power, and it's not. Even though that's fiction, a lot of that is fiction. It's not. It doesn't stray too far from the truth that Marcus Aurelius was that philosopher king who really just thought in a very specific way. That's what we're going to get into today. And then his son, or one of his sons, Commodus, was the next emperor, and he just had a completely different view. He didn't really learn too much from his father. Let's put it that way. All right. So like I said, many people, their only connection to Marcus Aurelius, if at all, is through that movie. But there's so much more with that. And so Nate, I'm going to throw it to you a little bit. You've been studying a little bit about Stoicism. All right. What is the thing there that, I'm not going to ask you to define it so much, but what is the thing that you find fascinating, or one of the first couple of things that you say, this is something where I can become better at in life, something I can really apply to my life, whether it just be your life in general, or even more so as a leader?
Well, I think for me, the biggest thing is in life, it is so easy to compare to everyone around us, what everybody else has. And a lot of times, marketing and sales and everything like that is always like, you want to be the best. You want to have the nicest things. You want to have the title, the money and everything like that. And
Yep.
Stoicism just kind of looks at more about being a better person on the inside, and maybe less looking at what's going on around you, and really centralizing on what you are and who you are, and kind of the idea that if you are a good person, then that is enough. And I think, like, a really great quote from Marcus Aurelius is, don't go on discussing what a good person should be, just be one.
Wow. I
And
like that
so
one.
it's just
Yeah.
kind of that, taking that step back, and especially with, younger leaders, as we are moving up the ranks, we're sitting there, and, you might be low level leadership, and you're looking at all the COOs and the the VPs and the directors and everything, like going like, man, I want to be there, and how do I get there? That we sometimes get so focused on, where we are trying to go, that we lose ourselves in our day to day. And so it's just kind of taking that step back and looking at being a good person. And if you are a good person, the right things are going to fall into line.
Beautiful, beautiful. Wow, what I couldn't have said it better myself. It's I like the way that you coined it. It was nice overarching sentiment there. You're absolutely right. Think about yourself. It's all about virtue. What is the best version of myself that I can be? And if the right people notice it, then good things will happen to me. If they don't notice, that's okay too. Life is kind of set out for me. Life is already kind of planned. And so my view of it is this: if we believe that life is planned and things are going to happen the way they're going to happen, but I have a little bit of free will, I have some option to make certain decisions. Why not just decide to be happy? Why not decide to be virtuous? Why not decide to just be a good person on a regular basis? It makes life more enjoyable, right? And maybe you don't get the promotion you really wanted, but maybe you weren't destined to get that promotion anyway. So
Right.
be happy with where you're at and be the best at where you're at. Too often what ends up happening is people in a position of power spend too much time striving for the next goal, the next tier. I talked with a lot of politicians in the past. And I ask them, one of the first things I ask them is, so you're in this role for a year, 2 years, 4 years, whatever the position is. I go, what is your goal in the future? What do you want to go afterwards? And the most impressive answer I get, which I unfortunately don't get as often as I hope, is I want to do the best I can during the time, and we'll see what the future holds for us. That's the answer I really want. But too often, what ends up happening is I want to use this as a stepping stone to the next level because I think I can do more at that next level. And then at that next level, I think I could do more at the next level. And they're never happy with where they're at. And so in politics, especially, they can't ever do the best job possible because they're constantly looking towards the future instead of what's going on today.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's really sad. And I think in politics, it's really important that we all get involved in politics. And this is according to Marcus Aurelius. His feeling was we should all be involved in politics in a little bit because it helps us understand how all men are led, all people move forward, how they're governed, etc. But on the smaller scale, and more of what we talk about is in business. Do the absolute best you can in that department. Let's just say you're an employee. All right, no leadership skills, no responsibilities. Do the absolute best you can. You will be noticed.
Right.
Okay. And when a position opens up and maybe you're viewed as somebody who's worthwhile taking on a leadership role, then you take on that role and do the best you can. But don't continue to strive to say, I'm doing all this to get to the next level.
You know, and that's a really good point, because a lot of what Stoicism and Marcus Aurelius is just living in the present, right?
Yeah.
And I got a great quote from
Go
him
ahead.
here, and it is confine yourself to the present. And kind of what he preached was, he was talking about just the span of life in general. And he said, you know, so many times people are always thinking of the future or thinking of the past, and those things are gone. You got to almost look at them as if you never had them, because if you
Yep.
never had them, you can never lose them,
I
right?
like it. I like it.
Because past, how can somebody steal from you something that you don't have anymore?
Yep.
Right. And in the
Yeah.
future, how can somebody take away from you what you haven't even gotten yet? And
Wow.
so
Wow.
all you
Yeah.
really have is the present. And so it's very much focused on being in the present and being the best that you can be, being the most grounded, the best person you can be in that moment.
I'm liking
And
it.
so
Yeah.
that's right there. But so many people are like looking, they're so busy looking at what they're going to advance to next. So many young leaders are like, looking at like, well, I don't have time for my team right now because I need to focus on my
Yeah.
next promotion. And in doing so, they're actually hindering themselves, their growth, their ability to lead the people around them, build the team that they can then use as a stepping stone for their next step. And instead, they're just looking at their next step. So it's just like, be in the moment and be the best that you can be.
I like it. Like it. And you're absolutely right. What ends up happening is you may get that promotion, right? But eventually that will catch up. Fate will catch up to you. Fate is inevitable and it'll catch up to you to say that you're not that great of a leader. The higher up that ladder you go, the more responsibility you have. And if your only responsibility in your mind is your preservation and your advancement, if that's the only thing that's on your mind, you will end up failing eventually.
Right.
It's the person who's thinking of the greater good, not only what's best for them at that moment, but what's best for my team, what's best for the company, what's best for the world.
Yep.
And it's interesting on a little sideline. I coach some people when they're looking to interview. Okay, they're leaving one job, interviewing somewhere else or whatever, and I tell them those are the 4 different areas I want you to always look at. Is when I go in on an interview, everyone obviously knows I'm there to get a job because I want a paycheck, right? I
Right.
mean, there's no way around that. I can't say I'm doing something virtuous without at least addressing that. I'm here because I want to work here and I want to make money. That's it. So that you cover that. The second one is you take a look at the company. I believe that I should be working here because I think I can be impactful to this company. I think I can do certain things to this company to help the company grow. That's one of the things they really want to hear, right? The next thing is the reason I like this company is because I think I can help this company impact the community or the world, the greater good, right? And you say, this is why I'm choosing this company. I could be really good at a lot of companies, but I chose this company because I like what you guys stand for and where you're going with it. Okay. And then the minor one, the other one that I kind of jumped over was the person who's interviewing you. All right. They've got to have some good to it too, and saying, the reason you want to hire me is I'm going to do good for you. I'm going to
Right.
be working for you and making you look good. I'm going to take burden and stress off your shoulders to do such a great job to prove to you that I'm worthwhile, that your job is easier, and maybe you can then reach the goals that you're after as well. So those 4 things. Be honest about, I'm here for myself. I'm going to get something out of this. I'm here for you. I'm going to help you succeed. I'm here for the company because I want the company to succeed. And I'm here for the greater good, what this company does for the world. And you cover those 4 types of things. And that to me is this great piece of Stoicism,
Right.
that Marcus Aurelius was that same thing. He truly believed that as the emperor, he had very specific responsibilities for the things for himself, for his people, for his community, for the world, right? And he believed that everybody out there, whether they be slaves, senators, etc., had a very specific part. They were a puzzle piece in this great big puzzle, and they had a very specific role. And if they continued to, or if they tried to outstretch and tried to do other things, okay, they weren't being true to their calling, to their responsibility. They had to be true to their responsibility, and
Yeah.
if they could do that, then they could move on to something else, so I think it goes right along with what you're saying here, is be true to yourself, be in the present, and be fantastic. If nothing else, I always tell people, if you never get a raise, let's say you never get a promotion, uh do you wanna work in this position pitying yourself, hating your job every day, or just absolutely love your job, love every day, look forward to it because you're making a difference, even if you're the only one who sees it?
Right. Well, and it's kind of that idea, like the whole idea of manifestation a little bit,
Yep,
and of being aware of your surroundings, being aware of what you have, everything like that. So Marcus Aurelius, again, great quotes. I mean, he is a quote machine. But another
yeah,
one is, life is an opinion, right?
okay,
And so something that I've started trying to do, especially for my team in the mornings, and just as I'm in there, I'm usually the first one in the office. And as everybody comes in, I usually go into the different offices, greet the different departments. And the first thing I'm doing is like, man, it's going to be a great day today. Today is a good day. Today
nice.
is like, we're going to make it a good one. And
Yep,
just like pushing that idea, because if it's that whole idea, like if you look for something bad, you're going to find something bad. If you
yep,
look for something good, you're going to find something good. And the idea that life is an opinion, it's like if you have the opinion that you are crushing it, that it's a good day, even when you have those little
yeah,
blips,
yep,
it's still going to be a good day. You're like, all right, that moment wasn't great, but as a whole, we're here. So like that idea of positivity, being in the present, and always pushing that everything is good and working with the people around you. If you have that kind of positive attitude, people are drawn to it,
there you go,
right?
there you go.
Misery loves company.
Right, right,
However, people want to be on the winning team, and they see that. And then they see, somebody rolling through with positivity out there, like, I want to have whatever that guy's got. And so just kind of
I
that
like it.
opinion that life is going to be good that day, you just got to push it and push it to everyone around you, and you'll see the results.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we can get into the metaphysics of it, the magnetism within our bodies where we attract what we put out there. But I like how that line you used, and I had heard it like this: whether you want good fortune or bad, it will happen.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. If you want good fortune, then you continue in that positive focus, understanding that every negative thing that happens in your life is a stepping stone, a learning opportunity to move closer and closer. Whenever you're low, you can smile to say, "Man, all that's ahead of me is good fortune." Right? And when you're high, you're going to say, "I know that things will turn and negativity will come, so I'm going to enjoy the high while I'm here." Okay. And unfortunately, people live their life differently.
Right.
All right. They live when it's low. I knew this was going to happen. Fine. Nothing ever goes my way. Right. And when they're high and things are going right, they go, "That's just a matter of time. I'm going to lose this." And
Yep.
when you think about that negative output, that mindset of just to say, "That's all I want to do is live in that negativity." What a terrible way to live your entire life.
No,
Okay.
and I think what's something that's important to leaders, especially as we have our teams around us, is
Yeah.
really preaching the idea to our teams that the way you live your personal life so easily translates into the business life. If
Yep.
you surround yourself, if your life outside of work, you surround yourself with negative people, maybe your friends are negative, maybe your family is negative, you are going to bring that because that is going to be where you're comfortable. That's the behavior you know.
Yep.
Whereas if you surround yourself with positive people, even if you come to work and you find yourself possibly in a negative situation, you'll be like, no, 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 this isn't how I operate. And so
Yeah.
it's that mindset of like building the positivity. You want your team to be winners. Something that I do on a daily basis with my team is I tell them we're the best, right? Even if we're having a bad day, I'm like, we are the best team. We are crushing it. We are doing well. And there's like, is there opportunity? Absolutely.
Yep.
Even the greatest athletes trained every single day, practiced every single day so that they could be the best. But it's like that idea of just pushing, positivity and kind of the sense of ownership and teamwork of being the best you could possibly be is what you have to do. Because if not, you're going to just get sucked into negativity by everybody around you.
I like it. I like it a lot. Man, you really came today.
I'm ready. I
Nate,
told
Nate,
you this
Nate. Yeah.
series, I got amped up. I'm
All right.
ready to go.
All right. This is cool. So, one of the things is, and we're going to get into the bacon really quick because there might be some new people who've never listened to the show, don't understand why we call it bacon bits. But before we do this, I'm going to talk about this thing called the Inner Citadel. All right, that Marcus Aurelius would talk about was this place of meditation within himself, and he would say, "I am no matter where I'm at, I am going to get a stress and burden from outside sources. Right? People are going to come to me and they're going to complain, and they're going to wish for something better. They're going to come to me attempting to bring me down. So I have to every once in a while go to my inner citadel. It's a place within yourself where external events cannot touch you. That's your place, your escapism. It's your spot where you're going to say things are okay or things are not okay, but they will become okay. And I think it's really important for us to get into that spot.
Right.
Okay. Now, what I want to do is introduce the bacon part of it, and then we're going to continue to talk because we got plenty to talk about with this guy. All right. So, for those of you who've never listened to the show, it's called Bacon Bits with Master Happiness because it's simple. Everything that bacon touches becomes just a little bit better. Whether it's a salad, whether it is a fillet that they wrap with bacon to make a little bit better, no matter what, you can't have a BLT without a little B,
Right.
right? And so everything gets a little bit better with bacon. And so we bring bacon to the show, but of course we are not talking about the bacon for chewing.
Oh no, Marty. We're talking about the bacon for doing.
That's right. I knew you'd do that. So what we do is every week when we tackle a problem or we talk about a person like Marcus Aurelius, we're going to apply the bacon theory to it. So that's the acronym BACON. And what we're going to talk about today is a little bit more of this. The B is for balance, finding stillness in the storm. Okay. The A is going to be accountability, owning your actions. Very, very important. C is compassion. We are all made for cooperation. O is optimism, the art of, and this one's going to be cool, the art of fati, I think it's called. I don't know, but it's basically the love of fate. All right. And N is nurturing, planting the seeds for future. And I think this is really important. We talked a little bit here already about this positive outlook, okay? But it's more than that. It's understanding that bad things or negative things are going to happen. It's the idea of saying if you can do something about it, do something. If you can't do anything about it, why are you letting it affect your life? Okay. It's every religion has something similar to that, the serenity prayer.
Right.
Okay. And Stoicism is no exception to that. It just says just that is why am I going to waste any of my time worrying about something I have no control over that may or may not happen? Worse yet, why am I worrying about something that happened in my past?
Right.
Okay. That should only affect me in a positive way because I've learned from it. Right. Why am I bothered with that kind of stuff as opposed to concentrating on the things that I can change, make positive change? Just that. It's that constant reminder of that. And it's the logic that Stoicism and Marcus Aurelius believed in the term logos,
Okay.
okay, which is basically translate to reasoning or logic. And remember, last year, I think we talked about Aristotle
Right.
being a salesman, and it was logos, pathos, and ethos, which was logic, the logos. Pathos was the emotional part, and ethos was the last part. Wow, my mind just went completely blank there. Somebody else, whoever's listening is loving that. Is the ethical part?
Yeah.
Ethics. Ethos was the ethics. Okay, so we have to concentrate on looking at life in a logical way. Things are going to happen. There's a fate to
Yeah.
us, right? And it's not to say, I did this deep dive into it of saying, all right, so if everything's already laid out for us, why don't I just give up? Or so I don't have control? And it's no, not necessarily. I view it like this is the ocean tides are going to come in, right? They're going to come in no matter what I do. If I take out one drop of water or I remove a drop of water and move it from the Pacific Ocean, bring it over to the Atlantic Ocean and drop it in over there, one little drop is not going to change the tides.
Right.
So the greater entity that is life, fate of what's going to happen on a regular basis is influenced so slightly by us. So the only thing that I really have control over is who I am, what I'm doing. All right. So if I'm that one drop of water, that one little thing, what do I have a chance to do something. I could either be part of that tide, I could be part of a tidal wave, I could be part of a small pond that just sits still. I could do all kinds of things like that, but I'm not going to affect the greater ocean.
Right.
All right. And I think to me, that was the turning point for me to kind of understand this even more so. And so if I am that singular drop of water with very little power to change everything, why not do everything I can to at least be the best drop of water I can be?
Right.
That's what it comes down to. Okay. So what's one of the things that, let's say, in the past, or Nate, I want you to think about this. A boss that you've had in the past, or a task that you'd said you never really realized it, but the person was kind of acting in stoicism, or I wish the person had acted in stoicism. In other words, give us an example. Is there anything off the top of your head? Okay. Because I'll tell you what, while you're thinking, I'll tell you, I was blessed to have this boss of mine, Al Hoffman, when I worked, and I was probably around your age, and I was working there, and I was a graphic designer working for the guy, and he was so calm and cool. And I just remember I would run to him sometimes, oh my God, we got this emergency. We got to take care of this. Like, I can't believe this is happening. And he'd always just say, calm down, Marty. Is it an emergency? All right. And we would sit there and I explained it. He goes, just do this and this. There, now it's gone. What'd you learn from it? And that's what he would ask me, right? What did you learn from it? And I was just kind of like, yeah, but it's done. It's over. We can't change that. Okay, what did you learn from it? How are we going to move forward? And it was just that whole idea. He was that great calm in the storm,
Yeah.
which was so amazing because I think the greatest thing he taught me was why am I getting so worried about it when he was the owner of the company?
Right.
If he wasn't worried, why was I so worried about it? Okay. And so he taught me to take a closer look at those things and really examine why am I getting so angry, and understanding that getting emotional about it does not help the problem.
Right.
Okay. Stay in logic as much as possible. Don't get emotional. So anyone from your past that you can think of, a story or something like that, or you know what, I'm gonna throw the camera on you so
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can even make up something.
Perfect. Yeah. Here we go. All right. So once upon a time, um, no, so I was working for a company, and there was a lot of clashes between the different departments. It was my department versus some of the different support departments, and
Okay.
there was a head of a particular other department that just really was rubbing me the wrong way. We just had creative differences. I didn't think highly of them. They didn't think highly of me. And just it was a lot of clashing. And so I had recently been had a new boss for me hired. And so I remember being in his office and talking to him. And I just was ramping up. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like this and this, and I don't like this and I don't like this. And he kind of like just stopped for a minute and just said to me, he's like, well, he said, as you know, I'm new here. He said, so I really don't have a stake in this either way, but I'm just going to offer some alternate perspective. And he just started throwing out other options and opinions just kind of as a third party. And so
Yeah.
rather than him going right away, being like, hey, siding with me or siding with them. He just remained neutral and kind of talked me through the situation. And I just remember thinking, like, at the first point, I was like, kind of like, "Well, what the heck, man? Like, I need you to be on my side. Like, it's
Yeah.
us versus them." But looking back now of him being a complete bystander, but just kind of the approach that he took of like, well, this is your perspective, but this might also be their perspective, and kind of talking through that and just that real calm,
I like that.
cool approach of like, just because, even though, he is, my superior and, wants to take my side and stuff, he also wants to guide me in the decisions and the feelings that I'm making and trying to get me to remove the emotion from it and really look at it from that logical piece and try to view the other side. And that's so much what Marcus Aurelius's teachings were
Yeah.
about, is really looking at everything through the eyes of logic and just
Yeah.
removing all emotion, all passion, all personal, feelings or persuasions from it, and strictly looking at it, stripping it down just to logic. And his idea was like, if this logically makes sense,
Yep.
then it is the right thing.
There
And
you
if
go.
it logically doesn't make sense, then it is the wrong thing. And no matter who says it is good or bad, it all comes down to logic. And I really, really like that, because so often as we are going through life, I mean, in business, it can get so heated. People get so passionate
Yep.
that they lose sight of things because they're so wrapped up in it. So if you can really strip it down to logically, is this good or is this bad?
Yep. I
That is
love it.
what you need to base all your decisions off of. So
I
it was just a really cool moment. I think back about that a lot, as I interact with people now, of going, take my emotion, take a step back
Yep.
and look at it logically and go, their perspective, is it wrong or is it just different from what my perspective is?
I love it. I love it. So I was looking into this whole idea we're talking about balance, finding that stillness in the storms. And here's another quote is you have power over your mind, not outside events. I don't have power over the outside events. I only have
Right.
power over my minds. So when I realize this, I find strength.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of these things is, imagine this is, I know that sometimes I get a lot of emails. They just start piling up, right? Deadlines are right on top of me. It's really easy for me to lose control. It's really easy for me to get stressed out. And I see plenty of people who stress out like that. Instead, what you have to do is you have to take that deep breath, understand, just like you were saying, take emotion out of the sequence, because getting excited, running around does not solve the problem.
Right.
All right. Instead, apply some logic to it. Remember the idea of, was we respond, we don't react.
Yep.
Okay. Because that knee jerk reaction is sometimes the right action, but I would rather have somebody take a moment and say, let me think this through. This is what I think we should do. And so that balance comes through, not to say that I'm going to work from 9 to 5. And when 5 o'clock, I'm going to turn off my phone. I'm going to spend time with the wife and kids. I'm going to, do the barbecue in the garage, right? Or in the garage, in the garden, in the backyard. It's not that. Balance means it's a balance throughout the entire day. Because when you're at work, sometimes you're thinking of the family. When you're at home, sometimes you're thinking of work. Now, I'll be honest, you're one of these people who I love your commitment to your job, that that phone is tied to you, it's connected to you, that you're ready to take those calls all the time. And
Yep.
I think, and that's a really admirable quality in you. And when I first met you, I used to say, man, I got to teach this guy to have balance. But you have taught me that you do have balance, that you, although you take that time and you do your work during the evenings and the weekends and stuff like that, when most people are saying, no, that's family time. I also see you have this balance throughout, that it only affects you in a good way. It makes you a stronger person because you're looking upon those kinds of things on a regular basis.
Yep.
So it's a strength of yours that many people need to learn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I appreciate that. You know what's funny is I got a note here in my phone
Yeah.
exactly on just kind of what you touched on a little bit ago. I think this might have been from our very first episode of Bacon Bits,
Oh,
but
really? Okay.
it was just simply the phrase that reacting leads to regret, responding leads to respect. And I
I
just
love
remember
it.
that hitting
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And because I am, 75% Italian,
Yeah.
I was, at the time early 20s, wide open. I mean, I'm pinging off the rev limiter. Even now, I'm going at about 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And it's so easy for me to just kind of flip out about things. And it's one of my greatest challenges. And so just I remember hearing those words from you and writing that down and just remembering that in my day to day as I try to
Yeah.
build the people around me. Like
Awesome.
that whole idea of like how I present myself is how people are going to perceive me. And if I'm like the dude who's just flying off the handle, even if I could be
Oh,
completely correct and like, leading my team or my operation in the correct direction, if I've got the kind of thing of being like this hothead spaz, people just aren't going to respect me for it. And
yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
something that I've worked on over these past, I mean, we're going on 5 years now, but it is something that I strive for every day. So
Excellent. Excellent. I kind of view it as this is I like the old adage about a duck. And you've probably heard this, where you see the duck on the pond, right? The duck is calm and cool sitting on there, but under the water, his feet are going like crazy, right? And so you think about this. Imagine watching a duck cross a lake. He walks in the water, right? Swims across the lake nice and calm, all right, and gets to the other side. Now, if you got two different views, one of the duck, the top of the duck just cruising across the water to the top, and then the other duck underneath, the feet going crazy until they got to the other side.
right,
It's easy to say, "Oh, look at how hard he's working. Like he's a hardworking duck." But if you were going to hire somebody for your team, would you want the one who's going crazy to get to the other side, or the one who came across that lake calm and cool and just walked across really smooth?
yeah, you want the one that's calm and cool.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, exactly. And so when we think about it, both ways get across. Nobody is going to be long term impressed by your erratic behavior
right,
of like, oh my God, everything's a fire. I got to put this fire out. In fact, what will happen is people will get tired of that.
right,
But if you are the calm in the storm, if you're the one who's like, "Hey, it's all good. Let me take care of it." Okay? Look, we fixed it. Man, next time we should have done this, but we didn't do that. We learned from that. We'll never repeat that mistake again. That's the guy I want on my team.
right.
I want the guy who's going to be really cool and calm through the entire process, not the one that is screaming at the top of his lungs constantly.
Yeah, well, I mean, something I found is anybody that you talk to in business, the busiest person you've ever met, right?
Yep.
They never sleep. They work
Yeah.
24/7, no matter whether they do or whether they don't. And so when they meet somebody else who's like, "Yeah, I work all the time and everything," they're like, Sure, whatever, man." And so, but if it's you're the person that gets results, to your point, gets results, doesn't ever make big deal about how much they're working, but just consistently gets results.
Yep.
That's the people that they're drawn to. Like he gets things done, and I don't have to hear about 40 different times how he was up all weekend working on a
Yeah.
report or something. Nobody wants to hear that.
That's it. So this leads us right to A. Believe it or not, we just finished B, and you know what? Before we get to A, I'm just looking at the time. We're gonna have to take a little mini break here, and just thank. Hey, and thank you so very much for staying tuned in to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness. I'm your host, Marty Jalove. I come at you every single Monday night. And if you missed the first half an hour, you missed quite a bit. We've been talking about Marcus Aurelius, the Philosopher King, and a little bit on Stoicism with my boy Nate over here. Nate is happens to be an expert on Stoicism and how you apply it to the workplace. So really, you're going to want to pay attention to this last half. We're going to try to get through the rest of the bacon. So far, all we did was we got the B in bacon, which is balance, finding the calm in the storm. And we're going to jump right into this. A is the accountability, owning your actions. And Nate, I think you understand this whole idea of how against Marcus Aurelius, what his feelings would have been was you don't blame other people for this. You make a decision, whether it's wrong or right. You take responsibility, you take accountability, you stand up because it's the only way to prove to other people that you want them to do the same thing. If
Right,
they know me that I'm going to lie and pass the buck, all right, they're going to do the same thing.
right,
And you have to drive it home right from the beginning. I don't I try not to care what you think of me, okay? I want you to view me as a virtuous person,
right,
right? And so because of that, if I make a mistake because I'm human, we will move on from that.
Right.
But I'm not going to blame other people because the moment I blame someone else, the next time we have a conversation, you're going to go, wow, is he going to blame me for the next thing, etc.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really important to understand that. And so it's really cool. Here's a cool idea or quote from him: "Is waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Just be one." Okay, that whole
Yeah.
idea is stop thinking about it and stop trying to make excuses for yourself. Be yourself. What we
Yep.
do, and today, you know this, in today's day and age, a lot of young people, pretty much a lot of people in general, are always constantly concerned about what other people think of them.
Oh, it's crippling.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it really is. Like, and social media has ruined this
yep,
for so many generations because it's that instant gratification wasn't there even a few years ago. Like, I think even for me in my middle school and teenage years
no, of
versus
course not.
what is now, and now in the age of social media and likes and being popular and going viral, people are so concerned with everybody thinking that they are a virtuous person. And
Yep,
just like you think about like everybody doing charitable acts and posting them on Instagram or TikTok or all that, they aren't doing it to actually be charitable. Not that's not to go to say that there are people
sure,
actually doing good things and all that. I mean, we talked about Mr. Beast and
yep,
the Legend of Sales, who was doing some amazing things
amazing,
out in the
absolutely,
but there are so many people that are doing it just to have this perception of being a virtuous person. And you think even about the people who are on something like Facebook where they're not even that virtuous, but they try to put other people down in order to make themselves seem better. And it's just like we're just so lost as a society where instead of like actually being a good person and letting your actions show, you have to sit there and tell everybody how good you are.
yeah, sad. It really is sad. And if you start doing that, you've got to take a moment. Remember that thing we talked about, the inner citadel. Go inside yourself and ask yourself, why do I care? Why? Obviously, there are people in the world that we want to impress. Maybe it's the people we work for. Maybe it's our family and friends. We want to set a good example. But that's the best way to do it. The way that I dress, the way that I walk, the car that I drive, should not be what I do to impress other people.
Right.
It's being a virtuous person, being the best version of myself, showing people that I'm not afraid to fall down and fail. It's I want to show them I can get back up. I feel like we're about to do some Rocky quotes here, but it's again we're going to get back up and try even harder. That to me is the best way to impress somebody.
Right.
And it's to set and it's really not to I hate to even say to impress somebody, but that's more important because hopefully they view that and they go, I want to be a virtuous person like that
Right.
person. Okay. As opposed to, wouldn't you rather set the example of what virtue means as opposed to setting the example for the coolest clothes?
Right.
I
Right.
mean, granted, we do have the coolest clothes.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, these are limited edition bacon
That's
bits
right.
Hawaiian
Exactly.
shirts. You cannot get better dressed, but
That's
that's
so
neither here nor there. That's for a
exactly.
different show.
We do this for ourselves.
Right. This is
Yeah,
for
yeah,
us.
yeah. All right. So the idea here is when you think about a modern application for this, is stop making excuses. If your team misses a target, take responsibility for it. You make a bad call, admit it. Vulnerability isn't a weakness; it's the ultimate proof of strength.
Right.
Okay. As a leader, when I ask my team to become vulnerable with me, talk to me about what they want, what they're missing, I've got to start by being vulnerable first. And
Absolutely.
and and you do that because then that gives them permission. Okay. So that's really important. So let's just jump right past this into the letter C, and that is compassion. We are all made for cooperation. All right. It's the idea here is, according to Marcus Aurelius here, is be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. I love
Yep.
that. Understand, I don't have control over the people around me, no control whatsoever. I can lead them, I can make suggestions, I can nudge them, but I don't really have any control. The only person I have control over is myself.
Yep.
Okay. And as soon as I come into work with with a bad attitude, understand that that was my choice to have a bad attitude and understand that that bad attitude is going to rub off on other people. So I can't even question what's happening with them because I was part of helping them have a bad attitude as well.
Yep. No, and it's interesting. It's because especially as a leader, sometimes you can not realize the effect that you have on your team. So, a while ago, I realized that if I came into the office, I work in, I've got a team and I got a bullpen. And so it's anywhere from 4 to 5 of my teammates in there at any given time. And if I came in that day and I had either a negative or a frustrated attitude, whatever was coming in,
Yep.
it set the tone for my team
Of
because they all looked
course.
to me and immediately I would set the tone for the entire office. So then, and then I'd be looking around and it'd be like, 10:30, 11. I'm like, wow, everybody's frustrated, aggravated, irritated, kind of at each other about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did this happen? And I start thinking back to like the energy that I was bringing in. And so it's just like that's something for me. And again, kind of how I was talking to the positivity piece is like I have to always lead the charge, lead from the front with the positivity. Even if I'm about ready to pull my hair on, maybe I have to step out of the room and just like have a moment to just collect myself.
Yep.
I can't ever show that. And there's a really interesting quote that Marcus has, and that is kindness is invincible, right?
Oh, I
And
like
so
that.
it's just that idea of like, as I'm in there, even if I am frustrated or whatever, if I'm speaking to my team with kindness, I'm dealing with everyone around me and they see that positive energy, it it shows. And I mean, and I see it day to
Yeah.
day. If I come in, today's a perfect example. I rolled into the office and I was like, today is going to be a great day. We are going to crush it. And all day, my team was rocking because they came in and as they started to
I
come in
like
and I
it.
greeted them in the morning as they were coming in, all of them were like, yeah, Nate's rocking, we're going to get it done today. And it
Yeah.
was, it was the coolest feeling ever.
I like it. I like it a lot. So when you talk about this whole idea of setting the stage, I worked with a group, right? And the leader, I sat there with them as the leader was talking to the team, and this person said, "Oh man, I got a cold working on me. I think I drank too much yesterday. I'm going to be good for nothing today."
Mm,
That's the first words out of this person's mouth, right? And I remember going up to them and saying, you set the tone for the whole day.
yeah.
You understand that every single other person there said, I don't have to produce today because you're not going to produce. And you're saying that a cold and a little hangover is good enough. And this person was, well, what am I supposed to say? I'm trying to be honest with them. You told me to be vulnerable. And I was like, no, 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 there's a difference there.
Right.
Because had you come in and said, hey guys, I want to let you know, got a little bit of a cold coming on. I might have drank a little bit tomorrow. But these are the things that make leaders leaders. This is the things that make winners winner. When you can succeed, when everything is holding you down,
Yep.
that's how we win. And
Right.
I'm counting on us. I'm going to show you how I combat this and I let nothing hold me back.
Yeah.
You come up with that. Think of how strong your team is, right? They're going to be like, oh my God, I got to perform because the leader is not feeling well and still kicking ass,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's a whole different mindset as opposed to, let's come up with an excuse why I'm going to
Yep.
fail today. Okay.
People love a good excuse.
Oh, they
People love a good
absolutely, yeah,
excuse, and they'll cling to that too.
yeah.
Oh, so and so said this or this or that. Oh, yeah, it was the Bears beat the Packers.
Yeah.
I'm just sad today.
Right, I can't. I
Yeah,
can't I can't do my job.
right,
Right, right. Think about just think about the reality of it. You fall into a hole. The easiest thing you could do is nothing.
right,
Just sit in the bottom of the hole. Don't move. That's the easiest thing you can do. All right? It takes work to climb out of that hole.
right.
Okay? But when you sit there, what do I want out of life? If I'm thinking of the present, the moment right now, what do I want? I don't want to be at the bottom of a hole.
No,
Okay? So put forth the work, climb out of the hole,
yep,
all right, and get on with your life. All right? It's nothing no one ever says that life is easy. So you could sit at the bottom of the hole, cry to yourself, get angry, be afraid, be sad, whatever you want to be, or you can say, I got to get out of this hole. I got to climb out of this. And I'm not guaranteed that anyone in the world is going to help me.
right,
I'm on my own here.
yep,
So I'm getting out of this hole. That's the difference in life. And too many people sit at the bottom of the hole and feel sorry for themselves
right,
too often. And worse yet, too many other people help them stay there.
right.
Too
Yeah,
many other
they
yeah,
walk past the home, and go, oh, it's
it's
so
all
sad that
yeah,
you're down there.
exactly.
You, it's
Yeah,
not your fault that you fell down in the hole.
exactly. Yeah,
I'd do something if I could,
yeah,
but
but
I
I
don't want
can't.
to.
Yeah, right. So that was on compassion, which was a great way to end it with the
Yeah,
compassion.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. But we have to kind of understand what's going on with these other people. I like this line here. Uh, is when you're working with this and when employees make a mistake, okay, ask yourself, what do they need to succeed, right?
Yeah,
You think about this as opposed to uh, attacking them. Like, how could you possibly make a mistake?
yeah,
How about because the answer should be, well, I'm human and I tried something and I made a mistake. That's why it's called a mistake. Get mad at them if they made it on purpose.
Right.
Okay. So the idea here, this line you'll like, you'll want a t-shirt for this. Get curious before you get furious.
Yeah.
Okay. That whole idea. Let me ask what happened before I get mad at you. Okay. And I think that's what's so important.
No, and
Right.
I think that's something that, especially if a manager is doing regular one-on-ones with their team,
Yeah.
is, make notes of it. Maybe don't call it out right in the moment when it happens, but that follow up and kind of follow through, going, all right, what happened there? Talking through what happened with them. Don't make a spectacle of it. Don't call them out in front of everybody else. But when you have that one-on-one time with that employee, first get where their head was at, what they were thinking that led them to make the decision that they made.
There you go.
And then using that as a coaching moment to build the opportunity from there. But
And think
yeah,
think about it, the next step then. Can you imagine? Like, I love how you said that. Bring them into a private meeting, a one-on-one. Hey, what happened? Tell me a little bit. I'm not angry. I want to hear what happened.
right.
Okay. Uh, and then when they go through the whole thing and you say, so what did you learn from that? How are you going to better yourself for the next time this comes up? And they explain it saying, I love that answer. Let's get in front of the whole team, and I want you to explain that.
Yeah.
Because then suddenly they go, "Hey, everybody, I made a mistake. I screwed up. I did this and this and this." And everyone's like, "Oh, I can't believe it." Yeah, but this is what's cool because I learned this, and I now realize from now on we're going to do this. So we're setting this new precedent, a new process in place, so this will never happen again.
Right.
Wow, you suddenly turn that negative into something positive, a
Right.
learning experience, not only for that person, but for everybody. And
Yep.
the fact that you're the leader and you told them, come up here and talk in front of everyone, it made that person go, I want to become better all the time. I don't want to make more mistakes. I don't want to
Right.
have to come and do this. But wow, it's my team leader, my boss understands that everyone makes mistakes.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of power in that. Okay, so now we get into the letter O here, which is optimism, the art of fati, I guess. You're the Italian. How do you
Yeah.
pronounce Fati?
Yeah, I think fatigue.
All
I don't
right,
know.
that works.
It's not
Yeah.
in front of me. Come on, I'm all the way over here, and I'm 25% Polish. We'll figure it out.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
All right, but it's basically the love of fate.
Yeah.
All right, optimism. And so I love this. I love that. I never thought of the term the love of fate. In other words, things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And so why don't I just look at it and live a life thinking that what's going to happen to me in the future is going to be positive. I'm
Yeah.
optimistic of what's going to happen. Remember what you were just talking, we were earlier today, and you were like, 2026 is going to be a great year.
Yeah. I got a cowboy hat. It's going to be a great year.
I love it. I love it. You got to tell me. I have a really cheap cowboy hat. We'll wear it to the studio
Yeah.
one month.
Perfect. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a $300 cowboy hat. This
Oh,
is kind of a big
no,
deal.
mine,
Okay.
mine
Yeah.
was a $19
Nice.
cowboy
Yeah.
hat.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I actually have a great quote from Marcus Aurelius.
Let me hear
on
it.
exactly that.
Let me hear
So
it.
it is, whatever time you choose is the right time. Not too late, not too early. And again, it all comes down to that
That's it.
mindset, that living in the present, and just kind of like that optimism of like, this is it,
Yeah.
you know?
I like the idea. I had heard somebody had brought up the thought that stop trying to make the right decision, make a decision and make the decision right.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. There is nothing to say that if I had changed my mind and made a different decision, that that would have been a better decision. There's
Right.
nothing. I can't go in the past and check that out. Okay.
Right.
So what you do is you made a decision, run with it, make sure that, and then make it the right one. Do the best of it. The other thing is what stands in the way becomes the way.
Yeah.
All right. So I just like that. I just love this. This show we were just filled with sayings.
Right.
But the important thing is that what are we doing? How do we hold on to these things? How do we use them to change the way that we work on a daily basis?
Right.
How do we use these things to coach other people? And I think the greatest thing so far that we've really touched on is this idea of telling people that we only have so much control, right?
Right.
Try to take as much emotion out of it and use as much logic as possible.
Yep.
Okay, we're still going to make mistakes because we're human, but it's when we make the same mistake over and over again that's when it's a problem. So
Yeah. I think it needs to be a healthy combination of using logic in your decision making,
yeah,
and then using complete ownership of the decisions that you made.
I agree with you. That's beautiful. All right. So when we get back into this whole idea of this, when we're talking about optimism here, is let's say did we lose a major client? Did we have a chance to refine the pitch to pivot the strategy? Right. In other words, if when we're making these mistakes, take a look and say, is there a positive with anything that happened? Okay. Did we introduced a new product and it failed? Okay, what did that teach us? Maybe the next time we introduce a new product to slow down the product process, right? The product failed, so it pointed out a flaw before we actually sold the product, etc. So there's always a positive we can look on everything, no matter what the negative part of it was. We can always learn something from it. Okay, the accountants don't necessarily love that answer.
Right.
Okay, they're like, "Oh, good. We made another mistake. We learned something. Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome." How much did that mistake cost us? Okay, but in the grand scheme of things, we realize every mistake brings us closer to the ultimate goal. All
Exactly.
right, all right. And so finally, the N here is nurturing, planting the seeds for the future. Okay, and I think this is important here. Is as a leader, one of the things is it's I love the line, and this is perfect here. It's about planting trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. In
I
other
like
words,
that.
we have to be the types of people who are doing things for the future that we may never see.
Right.
Okay, that's the virtue in us. This is the best version of myself. I'm not in it for myself. Remember in the beginning I said I'm in it for me. I'm in it for you, my manager, my leader. I'm in it for the company because I believe in this company, but I'm also in it for the greater good
Right.
and the changes that I can make. Okay. And whether I leave a lasting legacy that people will remember me forever or not, it doesn't matter because I won't be here to know.
Exactly.
Okay. Which also, I don't know if you know this, that meditations written by Marcus Aurelius, which I know you highly recommend
Yeah,
as
it's
a
an
nighttime
excellent
read.
read
Yeah.
or an excellent audiobook.
All
Really
right.
good stuff.
That was not intended to be a book. That was his diary.
Yeah.
And he was just writing his notes, and then that survived him. So somebody took it and said, "Hey, we should share this." He wasn't writing that to share it with people. He was writing it saying, "This is what I think." And to me, that makes it even more beautiful
Right.
because it was not intended for fame. This was just his true beliefs. This
Yeah.
is what he stood for.
Just late night ramblings
Yeah,
and all that, but and as you listen to it, I mean, you can feel the flow of it, but it really gives you an honest look at to kind of the way his mind worked and the way he viewed and thought about things, and that's what makes it so beautiful. Because again, to your point,
yeah.
it's not a lecture, it's not a sermon, it's not a teachings for anybody. It's just a man who is so strong in his beliefs and his thoughts on everything.
Yeah, yeah, and so I like that idea that it stands the test of time. That there's very few things, if anything, in there that you would say, that doesn't count today,
Right. Right.
right? So this idea of planting those seeds is constantly keep working towards the future. Uh, you should be looking at this whole thing of saying, I work at this company. I got a great team. Who's somebody here who could replace me?
Right.
Okay. And this is a scary thing for any leader to say, I'm looking for my own replacement. But I'll tell you, if you're interested in climbing the corporate ladder, you don't move to the next rung unless somebody can take your place.
Oh yeah. No,
Okay.
and that's such a big thing. I think people kind of get worried about that, especially younger leaders, because they're like, well, they don't want the competition, to that. But for me, as I'm building my team, I have regular conversations with the supervisors that report to me and let them know, like, I intend in every aspect for you to take my role as I move up, and
Nice.
instilling that sense of ownership in them. It's like, I'm moving up and you're coming with me. And so just kind of building that idea into them.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is scary. But for me, I look at it as a challenge, right? Because if one of them steps up to such a level that they could surpass me, for one, it's a highlight to their attributes and everything they're going
Yeah.
for. But two, it also showcases that me as a leader, I have emboldened them and enabled them and taught them, to be something incredible. And so I take pride in that. I want them to be their very best.
Yeah. Wouldn't you love to imagine this, Nate? One day you retire, right? And you're just out there on a boat fishing or doing whatever it's going to be when you when you retire.
Right. When
Okay.
I'm be 9 years old. Yeah.
Exactly. Still taking phone calls.
Right.
But imagine this that you go to a reunion party at the company, right? And you talk to some of these people, you're like, "Oh my god, you worked for me. I thought you were only gonna work the summer, and now you've been working here for 40 years, 30
Right.
years, whatever. Yeah, I'm the CEO now, or I am I'm in charge of this division. I worked for you, Nate, and you helped me find who I was inside. You helped me become the best leader.
Yep.
That to me is that power, that feeling inside. that is sometimes greater than anything else.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
building your legacy. I mean, that is what it truly is.
Exactly, and I think that's so very important. So look at this, Nate. I think we got through uh, the bacon by the end of the hour here. One last quote here is this: what is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bee." All right,
Right.
you like that? You like this?
Yeah.
I love all these quotes. I'm like going. Some of these should all just they all should be T-shirts here.
Right.
But nurturing is about mentorship. It's it's about planting trees, like I said, under which the shade, you do not expect to sit.
Yep.
To me, that's the greatest thing is just thinking about that. So, Nate, if any of your team was listening right now, what you got a message you would share with them?
You
Yeah,
know,
and you're like, yeah, and you're like, great, thank
yeah,
you.
nah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
No, I mean, I think there's a lot of great takeaways.
yeah.
I think honestly, positivity, living in the moment, and just really trying to be the very best you can be is um the best way to take away from it. Because if you are, it's so easy to be dragged down by the people around you. It's so
Yes.
easy to be focused on the negativity and all that. But if you sit down and you really use both logic and ownership, go on, one, I make these decisions because these are the logical decisions to make. And then when questioned on me, go, owning your decisions and go, look, this might not have been the correct decision to make, but in the circumstance, based off the information I had, it was the most logical decision that I could make. And using that
There you
and
go.
growing from it, you are going to continue to become the best leader. And be it when you lead your team, I tell my team all the time, if we win together as a team. If we lose, it's my fault as a leader because I have failed you.
It's very
Right.
strong.
And so it's that piece of going, I tell them all the time, if a driver made a mistake, ultimately it's because me as a leader, I didn't tell my team how to instruct the driver the right thing to do. And so that ownership and the logic, you have to hold true to both of those, and that will make you something great.
I like it. I like it. All right, we are out of time. Believe it or not, that was a fast hour, and we got through the BACON. If you missed any part of today's episode, tune in later in the week to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness, anywhere you listen to podcasts, or go to baconbitsradio.com later in the week. You'll get kind of a summary of the show and a link to the YouTube video everywhere else. This is part one of a 12-part series. We're going to be doing this every second Monday of the month from January through December. So again, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you so very much, Nate. Always a pleasure.
Oh, Marty, I am pumped. We got 11 more episodes to
You know it.
go,
You
and
know it.
I am
I
excited. It's
can't
going to be
wait.
good.
Where to see. We got to decide who's going to be February, March, April, May, etc.
Yeah.
So
Oh, no.
we're
We
going to
got
make
some
our way
good
through
ones.
it.
It's going to
Yes.
be good.
All right.
All right.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.